Laker Nation, welcome into the Los Angeles Lakers Report. Chase Sr. here with Chat Sports. And the NBA trade deadline is coming up on Thursday, so you know what that means. You have to subscribe to the channel. We're going to bring you all the latest news and rumors, all of the NBA trade deadline action around the Lakers. And we got to 33,000 subscribers to honor Kareem, so help me out. Let's get to 34 to honor Shaq. Hit that big red button down below. It is the Los Angeles Lakers Report here on Chat Sports. Chase Sr. here with you. Let's get to the latest news and rumors with the NBA trade deadline just a couple days away. And we start off with a familiar name who we've covered and talked about on this channel before. It's Cleveland Cavaliers center Andre Drummond. Now, Shams says that the Mavericks have explored discussions on a deal for Andre Drummond, and there are going to be teams very interested in the big man who are going to see and wait to see if he gets bought out. Among those teams interested and invested in a possible marriage with Andre Drummond, the Lakers and the Nets are right there. And why are teams interested in Andre Drummond? Because this year he's been putting up numbers. Now, he hasn't played since early February because he's been held out of the lineup because the marriage between him and Cleveland, it's going to end in a divorce. But when he's on the floor and healthy and playing, Andre Drummond, one of the best big men in the league, 17.5 points per game, averaging nearly 14 rebounds, gives you a little bit of a defensive presence as well. Now, as I mentioned, Drummond hasn't played since February 12th, and the Cavaliers are having a difficult time trading him because he has an expiring contract that's worth a little less than $29 million. But for the Lakers, he would fill a variety of needs for this team, especially considering that they have been hit with the injury bug of late. He'd be able to step in, immediately start at center for this team, which would then have a ripple effect throughout the entire roster because it would improve LA's depth. So, I say all of that and I propose this question. This is your opportunity to hop on board and join the show. Should the Lakers trade or buy out Andre Drummond? It's going to be a wait-and-see approach. If you think they should trade for him and give up an asset type T, if you think they should wait and run the risk of not getting him and go for a buyout type B. If the Lakers are able to bring Andre Drummond in on a buyout after looking at his numbers, 17 plus points per game, 13 plus rebounds, it would be a steal. And you have to factor this in. They don't have many assets to give up. So if the Lakers can get Andre Drummond on this team, they get LeBron back healthy, AD back healthy, you're looking at a team that can contend for a second consecutive Larry O'Brien trophy. Let's get to some other buyout and trade candidates for the Lakers, according to ESPN, and some intriguing names that we're going to follow with the NBA trade deadline coming up on Thursday. Wayne Ellington could be traded or bought out by the Detroit Pistons. He's averaging 10.5 points per game and is a sharp shooter. JJ Redick hasn't really enjoyed his time this year with the New Orleans Pelicans. He could be a bench option for the Lakers and be a guy who can make it rain from deep. Alec Burks, another name to keep an eye on. Now, he's been one of the closers for a Knicks team that has surprised a lot of people across the league, so the Knicks might elect to hang on to him, but he can score in bunches as well, averaging just over 12 points per game. Could Mike Muscala come back to LA after he was here in 2018 and 2019? He'd be another depth piece in the front court as well. And then going back to the Lakers, Reggie Bullock is another guy who's been getting a lot of burn for the New York Knicks for that surprising run that they've had this year. Another depth piece potentially. We move on to three more potential buyout trade candidates, and if you look at DeMarcus Cousins, he's a free agent, so the Lakers could potentially sign him. We're looking at bottom of the barrel players here like Ed Davis. Okay, he's getting minimal time with the Minnesota Timberwolves, averaging just over 2 points per game. DeMarcus Cousins was just okay for the Houston Rockets. He was released. He's been a free agent for a while. No team has elected to bring him in, but again, he would be a depth piece in the front court as well. And then at the point guard spot, yeah, you have Dennis Schroeder, but who else could you bring in? Possibly Elfrid Payton, a former first-round pick, who'd be able to make some plays for this team and give the Lakers more depth as they make another run at the playoffs and possibly contend for a second straight NBA championship. So you see the list of all those names there. Hop into the comments section. Which player would you sign Get into the comments and name me the player that you would most like to see the Lakers sign. So this episode, this show of the Lakers Report, sponsored by our sportsbook partners at BetUS. March Madness is going on as we speak. Second half of the NBA season ongoing. And if you want to make some bets to make up for a poor March Madness showing like your boy over here because I took Illinois, there's a great deal going on right now. If you go to chatsports.com/Lakers and sign up with the promo code Lakers125, you get a 125% deposit bonus. I'm telling you right now, there's not a better deal out there. And if you put down a $100 deposit, we will also send you a free Los Angeles Lakers jersey. The injury bug continues to hit the Lakers, namely LeBron James. The Lakers aren't in a good spot when it comes to injuries right now. LeBron suffered a high right ankle sprain against the Atlanta Hawks over the weekend. The injury occurred in the second quarter as he got rolled up on, and it was a complex, weird injury because we're so used to seeing sprained ankles happen when there's a roll to the outside. This happened on a roll up, so his ankle bent inwards, and according to Shams, LeBron is expected to miss several weeks, and as we've seen in the past, these injuries, they have a tendency to linger several weeks, possibly a month or two, so LeBron could be out of the lineup for a little while, and he let his frustrations be known on Twitter. He sent this out after the game and said, "Nothing angers and saddens me more than not being available to and for my teammates. I'm hurt inside and out right now. The road back from recovery begins now. Back soon, like I never left." And part of the reason why LeBron is a mythical figure, why he's one of the greatest players in the history of the NBA, is because he's been so durable and consistently available to his teams. And he's rarely been injured throughout his entire NBA career. Unfortunately for Lakers fans, they saw him get injured in his first season in LA, and now he suffers another high right ankle sprain. And when you look at the timeline for injuries for LeBron, it's crazy how often he's been available for his teams. But now another injury, which is going to be problematic for this team, and they are going to miss him because you look at the numbers that he's putting up this year. LeBron, alongside guys like Joel Embiid, Nikola Jokic, Steph Curry, in the heart of the MVP race. Not only is he putting up monster numbers, but he is the leader for this team and just an invaluable presence on and off the court. The Lakers are going to desperately be needing him, and it's unfortunate because they're suffering so many injuries. So I know when I saw LeBron got injured, I was like, oh no, that's not good. He's going to be out for a little while. Kind of made me sick to my stomach to a certain degree. So I want to pose this question. What was your one-word reaction after seeing LeBron get injured on Saturday? We're going to make this the pinned comment on today's show. So this is a forum for you to let your frustrations out. Let us know how you feel. Hop into the comment section and let me know your one-word reaction to LeBron getting hurt against the Hawks. Got to tell you, Lakers are in a really tough spot. LeBron goes down, AD goes down. Usually when you're without one star player, you can survive. When you're without two for an extended period of time, you're in a tough spot. Plus, you have to also think about the Lakers' lack of trade assets. They don't have many players to give up. They don't have a ton of cap space. They don't have draft picks to surrender. So, with the playoffs right around the corner, 29 games left, Lakers, injuries to LeBron James and AD, this team is in a very difficult spot right now, and their lineup is lacking. Lakers lineup against the Suns on Sunday, not something that you're going to be all too excited about. Dennis Schroeder continuing to play point. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope in at the shooting guard spot. Wesley Matthews, a lot of Lakers fans were excited about him coming in this offseason. He hasn't done much. He slides into the starting lineup. Kyle Kuzma, since AD went down, has been much better. And then Markieff Morris is in at center because Marc Gasol is out right now because of health and safety protocols. So that Lakers lineup, as currently constructed, nothing close to what that Lakers lineup looked like at full strength. And the Western Conference standings right now very closely jumbled, so the Lakers don't have a lot of wiggle room right now. And as we take a peek at the Western Conference standings, I talk about not much flexibility being in the West right now. Utah Jazz in first place. You have the Lakers in at third. But look how closely everything is situated in the Western Conference standings between the Lakers in third place to some of the other teams that are in the back half of the Western Conference standings. I mean, Portland is a game back in the win column at 25-17. A team like the Dallas Mavericks has been on a tear over the last few weeks. So the Lakers, without AD, without LeBron, not a lot of wiggle room with the playoffs just a few weeks away and 29 games left in the regular season. Who's going to step up without LeBron, without AD? A lot of the pressure is going to be kind of directed toward guys like Talen, Horton-Tucker, and he's been better in the month of March. This is a guy who LeBron James and Frank Vogel are very high on, and since he's gotten more minutes because injury issues have hit this team, he's been a little bit better, averaging more than 12 points per game in 22 minutes per. Kind of gives you that all-around game that can kind of be a nice, valuable bench piece in a reserve role, but as he gets more minutes, he continues to develop, and I will tell you this, according to reports, when he becomes a free agent after this season, there are a bunch of teams across the league who are going to be interested in Talen Horton-Tucker. Another guy who's going to have to step up and has since Anthony Davis went down, Kyle Kuzma. Kyle Kuzma silently has been balling out over the last 15-20 games, and in the month of March, Kyle Kuzma's been playing really, really well. More than 16 points per game and 7 rebounds. His shooting percentages from the floor and from deep, very, very respectable. So Kyle Kuzma, Talen Horton-Tucker, two guys who are going to have to step up. The pressure is on, and they've shown in March so far that they have risen up to the occasion. So what is your level of confidence in Kyle Kuzma and Talen Horton-Tucker? I want you to hop into the comment section and scale it for me from 1 to 10. I'm going to put 7 down into the comments because I actually think they've been pleasantly surprising. What the Lakers have to do, they have to focus on getting healthy. Don't worry about seeds anymore. They're in third place. As long as the Lakers are among the top 10 teams in the playoff race, which they will be, that's all that matters. They can't play for home court advantage or even frankly worry about that because with LeBron and AD, you can't expect to grab that number 1 seed. But what the Lakers have to do, as long as they are 100% healthy with AD back, LeBron at full strength, this team will contend for an NBA championship. NBA trade deadline coming up on Thursday. As I mentioned, be sure to subscribe to the Lakers Report here on Chat Sports. Hit that big red button down below or head to youtube.com/LakersTV. We're going to bring you all of the latest news, rumors, trades, and signings with the NBA trade deadline right on the horizon.